morning to all of you. We discussed the poem Turmeric by K Satchidanandan today. In fact, the Turmeric is originally written in Malayalam and later it is translated into English. And before discussing the very English translation, it's good that we understand the Malayalam, or let us just listen to the Malayalam version. I'm just reciting the Malayalam version initially, and afterwards I'll be giving you the commentary on the English translation of Manjal or Turmeric of Sahityanandan. Now, the poem Turmeric in Malayalam. Manjal. ഒരിക്കൽ മണ്ണിനടിയിലെ ഉണ്ണിയാർച്ച, വിളർത്ത തൊലിക്കടിയിൽ പൊന്നൊളിച്ചു കടത്തുന്ന നഗരസുന്ദരി, മന്ത്രവാദി ചെടിയാക്കി മാറ്റിയ രാജകുമാരിയുടെ സുവർണപാതുകം, കാവുകളുടെ കാൽപ്പൊടി, കളങ്ങളുടെ സൂര്യജ്യോതിസ്, നാഗരാജാക്കളുടെ അമൃതഭക്ഷ്യം, ഈറൻ മുഖങ്ങളുടെ ആർദ്രചന്ദ്രിക, വേൽ കയറ്റിയ കവികളിലും വെളിച്ചപ്പെട്ടവൻ്റെ പിളർ നെറ്റിയിലും ഭൂമിയുടെ ലോലസ്പർശം, വിഷത്തിൻ്റെ മഞ്ഞ മറുകര, അടുക്കളത്തട്ടുകളുടെ കനകനായിക, കറികളുടെ പീതാംബര സൗരഭം, ഈറ്റില്ലം മുതൽ മണിയറ വരെ, മണിയറ മുതൽ മരണാനന്തരം വരെ പിന്തുടർന്നു പോന്ന സൗഗന്ധിക സാന്നിധ്യം, ഇപ്പോൾ കുഴലിലടച്ച് അങ്ങാടിയിൽ വിൽക്കുന്ന വിലയേറിയ ഒരു ലേപനം. So this is the very Malayalam version of Turmeric, the poem. Now let us look at the English version, and afterwards we'll look at the very biographical details of Sahityanandan, and we will enjoy. So let us look at the English version. Turmeric. Once the Unniyarcha of the subsoil, the urban beauty who smuggles gold under her pale skin, the golden shoes of the princess transformed by a magician into a plant, the dust on the feet of the sacred grouse, the sunlight of the holy designs on courtyards, the nectar of immortality, the serpent king's stake, the cool moon of moist faces, the tender touch of the earth, on the cheeks pierced by the trident in divine frenzy, and the torn forehead of the dancing oracle, the other yellow shore of venom, the golden heroine of the kitchen's platter, the yellow-clad fragrance of curries, the sweet-scented presence that followed us from the labor room to the bridal chamber, and from the bridal chamber to the death rites, now an expensive cosmetic cream trapped in tubes and sold in the supermarket. Ria, good morning. Hello, Ria, good morning. Hello. Hello, Fatima, Ria, good morning. Where are the others? Ask everybody to join. I'm waiting for you. Hello. Hello, Fatima.
Hello, Fatima. Yes, sir.
In fact, I am waiting for all of you. Where are the others?
Sir, let me share the link in the class group.
Why is there any difficulty in joining Microsoft?
Sir, there are many links. Usually we get confused on Thursdays.
Okay. Please share the link. Please share it. Please share it. Inform all the students in both classes. Okay. So we have already discussed the short story by Santosh Echikanam, Komala, the short story we discussed, and we also discussed the questions and answers of Komala by Santosh Echikanam. And now we discuss a wonderful poem by K Satchidanandan, and it is titled Turmeric. Ria, do you know Sahityanandan? Hello, Ria. I have been calling your name for a long time. Hello. Okay. Anybody, have you heard the name of the Malayalam poet Sachchidanandan? Swati, have you heard the name of Sachchidanandan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's good that you have heard the name of Sachchidanandan. Shall we learn the poem Turmeric by Sachchidanandan today? Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so understand this poem has a lot of significance in the 21st century or today. And Sachchidanandan is, as we all know, a great poet, a great critic, editor, and orator. And he has been giving lectures, speeches at different occasions, maybe in India as well as abroad. So he is very famous, and he was once a professor of English at Christ College, Irinalakuda, Thrissur, and later, of course, because of his great contribution to literature, both Malayalam literature as well as I can't say English literature, because he contributed to many literature, like he read a lot of poetry written in foreign languages like French, and also he was familiar with the poetry and literature coming from almost all the worlds, countries, right? So maybe if you are into reading Madhrubhumi, Madhyamam, or Bhasha Bhoshani, or any other literary journals, you will see the very translations of K Satchidanandan. So remember, we are blessed to have the poem Turmeric, because we are learning, we discuss one of the greatest poets of the world, and one of the greatest poets of India, and of course Kerala. All right. So he was, as I said, a professor at Christ College, Irinalakuda, and later he became the secretary of Kendra Sahitya Academy, the Central Sahitya Academy, and he has written lot of poetry, and his poetry is published in more than 20 anthologies, okay, more than 20 collections of poetry. And we also have a lot of translation. He has translated a lot of poetry from many languages of the world. I remember recently I read some of his translations of poetry that comes from Sri Lanka, okay, so Sinhala language, right, and that very Sinhala poetry in English has been translated into Malayalam, and it was often his poetry come in Madhrubhumi Weekly, and in, of course, Madhyamam, okay. And now again, remember, he is, of course, a great writer, poet. He won a lot of awards, international and national, and he won 4 Kendra Sahitya Akademy awards, all right, and that helps us to understand his great significance, right? And now we are looking at the beautiful poem Turmeric in our course book Spectrum. So turmeric, turmeric has a lot of significance. Turmeric has a lot of significance in our life, our day-to-day life, and I'm sure all of you see, touch, and taste and smell turmeric every day, okay, because it is part of our diet, it is part of our ritual, part of our culture, our religion, our very life, right? And now during the pandemic, right, the COVID time, I know I used to, of course, keep a small piece of turmeric in the water, the drinking water, while boiling water for drinking, right? We used to keep a small piece of raw turmeric in the water, and it's very good, right? It's very good for immunity. It can just protect us from inflammation and many other maybe physical problems, right? It is one of the best herbs available in our backyard, or front yard, or courtyard, or maybe all of us have it, right? And in cooking, of course, it's essential. We use turmeric in all the items, like whatever we cook, right? We use it, right? Okay. And now let us come to the text, page number 36. We have a short introduction to the poem. I'm just reading that. The poem Turmeric, which was originally published in Malayalam with the title Manjal, is one of Sachchidanandan's most famous short poems. The poem is primarily about how the neo-colonial global agenda works very often covertly in converting certain traditionally rooted value-based important products into market-oriented cosmopolitan cosmetics or such attractive products. Okay, so this poem Turmeric tells us about what is globalization, or rather we can say that this poem Turmeric of K Satchidanandan is a very powerful criticism of globalization. It is not only a powerful criticism of globalization, it is also a criticism of the so-called liberalization. And maybe we have to understand what is globalization. We understand that globalization is, of course, right, an agreement among the leading nations of the world of today for, of course, interdependence. Say, for example, the leading nations, or rather the economies of rather the countries, the nations of the world, they just they have agreed that we will just share. Okay, anyone can, of course, we can just go for maybe people or organizations, companies, and governments can just sell their products, okay, sell their services, okay, anywhere. So we understand that it is in fact a process in which growing interdependence of world's economies, cultures, and populations brought about by cross-border trade in goods, services, technology, and of course, we say we have free trade and everything, right? But we understand that this is not in fact something that is helpful for maybe developing nations, right? It doesn't help the developing nations. Say, for example, if we look at the history of man, or rather if we look at human civilization, we understand we have in the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries what is known as colonization. And in the 19th and 20th centuries, most of the so-called colonies got independence, like India. Yeah, we also got, similarly, many Asian, African, and the so-called Commonwealth countries got independence. So we have colonization, then independence, then we have globalization, and as a result of globalization, we have the victimization of, the exploitation of the so-called colonies, or the countries which were once colony of Britain or European national nations, right? And now this poem, okay, globalization has a lot of consequences. One of the consequences of globalization is what is known as, maybe people say that this is good, like we have a kind of cultural synthesis, right? We have cultural synthesis, the very culture of Europe, the culture of Africa, the culture of India, the culture of Asia. All right, there is giving and taking of different cultures, languages, services, okay, education, science, technology, everything is exchanged, right? So we can say that maybe one of the results of globalization is this so-called synthesis of different cultures, or which is known as acculturation. Okay, acculturation is synthesis of different cultures. All right, and maybe we say that this is good, right? The so-called cultural synthesis is good, or rather acculturation is good. But Sachchidanandan, or other poets and writers, they are very, very vigilant, watchful, and careful, and they are watching everything often from the point of view of the marginalized people, the exploited people, the downtrodden people. And when Sachchidanandan a poet from Kerala, a writer from India is looking at what happens to turmeric, he has only criticism for the so-called globalization. Okay, and in this poem Turmeric, Sachchidanandan is criticizing globalization, acculturation, liberalization, etc. very, very powerfully. Okay, so we know, I told you, turmeric is of course one of the herbs, one of the spices which is part of our culture, our religion, our ritual, diet, medicine. Okay, I don't have to explain that. Even when maybe a centipede stings you and you have some swelling on your toe, your feet. Okay, your mom comes to you, your dad comes to you and asks you, maybe your grandpa, your grandma, tell you, don't worry, don't be upset. Okay, and they take a small piece of turmeric and they just rub it against the very stone you have in your maybe backyard, and that paste which is of course, right, you are rubbing the turmeric against the rock. Okay, and it could be something like the grindstone. You can have a grindstone, all right, what you call in Malayalam, of course, grindstones, right, your ural in Malayalam, right, and they would be, or you have what is called the the aragal and amikal and all. Okay, maybe you just rub the turmeric, that piece of turmeric against the grindstone, the brink of the grindstone, and you get a paste, right, and that paste you get from the turmeric is very medicinal. It can cure the problem. And maybe if you are stung by a centipede, or maybe there is of course maybe a some other insect bite you. Okay, this is the best medicine. The paste you make from the turmeric is of course a very good medicine, all right. And for, I told you, even now during the COVID times, whenever you boil some water, you keep a small piece of turmeric in it, and it is very medicinal, right. Maybe when you keep a small piece of turmeric in the milk you boil, right. Okay, you can keep it there. It is giving you lot of immunity. So turmeric, and again in some rituals, I don't know if you have seen in some rituals, some marriages, some wedding function, so also some other rituals like funeral, people for religious purposes, of course, ask for a small piece of turmeric, right, maybe dry. You know how you use the turmeric, right. Okay, so maybe you can use it raw, and sometimes of course you need to keep it for maybe for cooking and all, and you collect it from your farm, you dry it, and you just boil it, you dry it, and you take it to the mill, and you just you just get the very so-called turmeric powder, right. Okay, and you just use it for cooking, right. And now Sachchidanandan tells us to what happens to the turmeric. Okay, so turmeric is basically ours, all right, ours. It is of we people, right. And what happens is, as a result of globalization, the very medicinal quality of turmeric, the very the herb, it's a herb and it has a lot of herbal medicinal quality. All this is just modified. Say for example, the turmeric is taken away to some factories, some pharmacies, and they just mix certain chemicals with it, and of course at last the same turmeric is just packed in some tubes, or and it is sold as some cream. Okay, maybe it is sold as a cosmetic cream, all right. And this is very, very bad according to Sachchidanandan, and Sachchidanandan is just bemoaning or lamenting or crying over the kind of exploitation of the very original indigenous practices and products of people like Kerala people, right? Okay, so let us this is again a criticism of, like I said some time ago, it's a very powerful criticism of globalization and liberalization. Okay, so now let us look at the poem Turmeric. So far as we are concerned, turmeric has a lot of importance, maybe emotional, maybe of course religious, all that is, and again it has a lot of, okay, and in order to highlight the significance of turmeric in the life of people in Kerala, people in India, Sachchidanandan is just attributing some of the qualities of the spice or turmeric to many mythical incidents, mythical characters and incidents from mythology, and of course our culture, our ritual, our cooking practices, etc. in this poem Turmeric. Now we shall have a reading of the poem, and afterwards we'll just explain. So I'm happy if one of you can recite the poem. Let us see if I'm looking for one of you. Come on, Rishal, Mohammed Rishal, can you recite the poem? Mohammed Rishal, do you have a textbook? Mohammed Rishal.
No sir, textbook illa.
No textbook. Don't worry, dear. No, don't worry. Oh, can you read if I am sharing the text with you? Can you read the? Is the text visible now? Is it visible? I'm sharing the text. Is it? Can you
Sir,
see?
ഞാൻ ഫോണിലാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്, അപ്പോൾ കറക്റ്റ് കാണുന്നില്ല.
No worries, no worries. Don't worry, don't worry. Then we will listen to maybe. Okay. All right. Swati, you have a textbook, no? Swati.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you recite the poem now? Swati, 1 second. Is the text visible? I'm sharing the PowerPoint. Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So students, if you don't have the textbook, please try to look at the PowerPoint I am sharing. Now, Swati, please recite. Come on. Turmeric.
Once the Unniyarcha of the subsoil, the urban beauty who smuggles gold, under her pale skin, the golden shoes of princess, transformed by a magician into a plant, the dust on the feet of the sacred groves, the sunlight of the holy designs on courtyards, the nectar of immortality, the serpent king's stake, the cool moon of moist faces, the tender touch of the earth on the cheeks pierced by the trident in divine frenzy, and the torn forehead of the dancing oracle, the other yellow shore of venom, the golden heroine of a kitchen's platter, the yellow clad fragrance of curries, the sweet scented presents that followed us from the labor room to the bridal chamber and from the bridal chamber to death rites. Now, an expensive cosmetic cream trapped in tubes and sold in the supermarket.
Thank you, Swati. Thank you very much. Now, look at this poem, my dear students. It is very interesting. Sachchidanandan very powerfully helps us to, or shows the transformation that has come to such a wonderful herb, medicinal spice like turmeric. And you have a number of beautiful metaphors in this poem. Once the Unniyarcha of the subsoil. Okay, we know who Unniyarcha is. Unniyarcha, as we know, as it is given in page number 37, is the courageous and beautiful war heroine of North Kerala. Okay, and she is very courageous. She knows a lot of martial arts. She knows how to use weapons, and she is very bold, and we can say that she is one of the empowered women from the history of Kerala, especially from North Kerala, just like Jhansi Rani in Indian history. Unniyarcha is very beautiful, courageous, and she is very good at martial arts, fencing, sword fighting, dagger fighting and all. So just like the beautiful lady in Kerala, especially the Vadakkan part, you call in Malayalam, Vadakkan part, right? Okay, just like that Unniyarcha, turmeric is very important to the people of Kerala. So turmeric is as significant as Unniyarcha to people of Kerala. And this is a metaphor. Once the Unniyarcha of the subsoil, turmeric is the Unniyarcha of the subsoil. That is, of course, the very soil on which we cultivate, right? Okay. So you are planting a small piece of turmeric and it is just growing up in the subsoil. So turmeric is so beautiful, so courageous, like Unniyarcha. It doesn't mean that she's just means turmeric is maybe right as courageous and as beautiful, but we understand that it has so much of benefit. There's a lot of use, and because of the uses of turmeric, it could be said that turmeric is exactly like or Unniyarcha. Once the Unniyarcha of the subsoil, okay, so turmeric is compared to Unniyarcha of the subsoil. Then another comparison, the urban beauty who smuggles gold under her pale skin. Another comparison, second comparison. This is again a second metaphor, another metaphor. What is turmeric? Turmeric is an urban beauty, a beautiful lady from the city. And what do the beautiful, maybe you read the newspaper, you hear about gold, Karipur Airport, Kozhikode Airport, Cochin Airport, Kannur Airport, Trivandrum International Airport. Maybe you have a lot of cases of arrest of people who are smugglers of gold, smugglers of drug and all, right? So here turmeric is compared to an urban beauty because of the very yellow color of turmeric. Because of the yellow color of turmeric, turmeric is exactly like gold. Okay, and you have riddles in Malayalam in which we understand that turmeric is, of course, just like it is just like the yellow gold, maybe the yellow metal gold, right? So the urban beauty who smuggles gold under her pale skin. So turmeric has a pale skin, and under the pale skin of turmeric you have the very precious medicinal useful spice turmeric there. Okay, so turmeric is compared to an urban beauty who is smuggling gold. Turmeric is gold itself. It is beauty, it's a beautiful lady, and it is so useful. That is the reason why Sachchidanandan says that turmeric is the beautiful lady who is smuggling gold. So exam point of view, what are the metaphors Sachchidanandan uses in the poem Turmeric to show the usefulness and the very the excellent aspects of turmeric? Number one, turmeric is compared to Unniyarcha. Number two, turmeric is compared to the urban beauty who is a smuggler of gold. Now look at the next comparison. The golden shoes of the princess transformed by a magician into a plant. So what is turmeric? Turmeric is a plant, right? Okay, and before being transformed into a plant by a magician is transforming turmeric into of course a plant. Before that it was like a golden shoe of the princess. And here the reference is to the Cinderella story. You know Cinderella story. Cinderella story is the story in which we have a princess. There is of course a king, and the king is having a daughter. That's of course a princess, and unfortunately the mother of the princess, and that princess is Cinderella. Cinderella's mother dies, and the king married a second time, and the stepmother of Cinderella has two daughters, and the stepmother is very, very loving to her own daughters and very cruel to Cinderella. and Cinderella is of course in trouble. She cannot go out, she has a lot of difficulty and all, but we understand that later she is getting a golden shoe, and now that she has the golden shoe, she is going to be married to another prince. That is the miraculous, wonderful story of Cinderella. So just like the Cinderella story, turmeric is exactly like the golden shoes of the princess. Okay, and turmeric, which was once the golden shoe of Cinderella or a princess, is transformed to the plant by a magician, and we have that plant with us in our farm, that is turmeric. Is it clear? Okay, so come on, I'm asking you a question. We have three comparisons here right now, three metaphors, and the question is to you. All of you please answer. What are the three metaphors Sachchidanandan uses to illustrate, to elaborate the very use and the benefit of turmeric? Okay, turmeric is compared to 1, 2, 3. What are the comparisons? Come on, Shamima, what are the three metaphors Sachchidanandan use to show the use or benefit of turmeric? Shamima, are you there? Come on, the three metaphors.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what are the three metaphors Sachchidanandan uses in the poem? Come on.
So the golden shoes.
That's good. Yeah, turmeric is compared to the golden shoes of the princess. Very good. Second one?
It was compared to how Unniyarcha is important to.
Yeah. It is compared to Unniyarcha. Turmeric is as important, as useful, as beneficial as the very beautiful and heroic and courageous woman in North Kerala, Unniyarcha. Number three, compared to, come on.
Sir, I'm not sure, sir.
Yeah, urban beauty, an urban beauty who is a smuggler of gold. I repeat once again, don't worry. Shamima, understand. Turmeric is compared to number 1, Unniyarcha. Number 2, an urban beauty who is the smuggler of gold. Number 3, compared to the shoes of Cinderella, the princess. Okay, and the shoe of Cinderella was transformed into a plant by a magician, and we have that plant in our subsoil, our soil. Okay, so are the three metaphors in the initial part of the poem clear? Shamima, can you say 1, 2, 3, the three metaphors? Come on.
Unniyarcha,
Very good.
urban beauty, and
Very
the golden shoes of the princess.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank
Now, yeah. Now let's just move forward. The dust on the feet of the sacred grouse. So, number 4, the turmeric. Turmeric is compared to the dust. You know, dust, the powder, the dust on the feet of the sacred grouse. You know, see, you have sacred grouse. What is a sacred grouse? A sacred grouse is the very plot, or maybe you have a jungle around your temple. There is a temple, maybe you have a family temple, maybe you have it, or a common temple in your village, and some land, or you keep certain area around the temple. Okay, rather there is no human intervention at all. You don't cultivate anything there. It is just kept as a sacred ground where gods live. And there may be, of course, what you call kav in Malayalam. Okay, all right. ആയിരം ഉണ്ണിക്കനികൾക്ക് തൊട്ടിലും താരാട്ടുമായി നീ ഉണർന്നിരിക്കുന്നതും ആയിരം കാവുകളിൽ ഊഞ്ഞാലിടുന്നതും. ലുക്ക് അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ്. ONV കുറിപ്പ്. ആയിരം കാവുകളിൽ ഊഞ്ഞാലിടുന്നതും അഞ്ചുതൽ പൂക്കളായി കയ്യാട്ടി നിൽപ്പതും അമ്പലപ്രാവായി നീ കുറുകുന്നതും ആയിരം പുഴകളുടെ ഓളങ്ങളായി എൻ്റെ ആത്മഹർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് താളം പിടിപ്പതും പൂവാകയായി പൂത്തിലങ്ങിയായി കൊന്നയായി പുത്തനാം വർണ്ണ കുടകൾ മാറ്റുന്നതും കൂമൻ്റെ. ദാറ്റ്സ് ONV കുറിപ്പ്, ഇനിയും മരിക്കാത്ത ഭൂമി. So you have cow, the very concept of cow. What is cow? Cow is the very sacred ground around the temple, or maybe around your family temple. Okay, you don't cultivate anything there. You don't maybe just throw anything bad there. This is a sacred place where gods live, where maybe you can see snakes, cobra and all. There are people who worship cobras. There are people who worship, of course, maybe animals, right? Okay, so all these cobras, animals, etc. live there, and this is cow, right? Cow is, of course, a very good concept in which you assert the significance of being eco-friendly. The significance of ecosystem in religion is asserted by ground. And remember, the dust on the feet of the sacred ground. What is the dust on the feet of the sacred ground? Turmeric. Is that clear? Have you understood? What is the dust on the feet of the sacred ground? What is that? Turmeric. Is it clear? Please respond to me. Hello. Is it clear? Hello. Why don't you speak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the question again. Remember, what is the dust on the feet of the sacred grouse? Turmeric. So this is the fourth metaphor of turmeric. The poem is full of metaphors. Turmeric is compared to number 1 Unniyarcha, number 2 urban beauty, number 3 golden shoe, number 4 dust on the feet of the sacred grouse. And we continue. The sunlight of the holy designs on courtyard. Okay, in Kerala culture, in Hindu culture, in Hindu families, Hindu religious families, so also in South India, in India, you will make holy designs. Holy designs. And what are holy designs? What you call kalangal in Malayalam. Kalangal. Okay, and maybe on certain special days, like I'm not just exactly mentioning the very important holy days, like sacred days, but you have certain festivals, certain religious days and all. So all these festivals, religious sacred days and all, you would be making holy designs in front of your home in the front yard. Okay, and that you call it holy design, and often it is made with the turmeric, or other turmeric is part of the holy design. And look at that, the color of the turmeric is just like sunlight. Turmeric is so dazzling and shining and bright like the sunlight. So what is the sunlight of the holy designs on the courtyard? Turmeric is compared to the sunlight of the holy designs on courtyards. Okay, so turmeric is very important in our culture, in our diet, in our religion, in our ritual, and this is the significance of turmeric in our religion and ritual. Okay, so what is turmeric? The fifth comparison of turmeric is to sunlight of the holy designs on courtyards. You have the corresponding Malayalam translation of the poem Manjal or turmeric, and you read it this way. I'm just reading it, and it will be clear to you. Okay, so മന്ത്രവാദി ചെടിയാക്കി മാറ്റിയ രാജകുമാരിയുടെ സുവർണ പാതുകം, കാവുകളുടെ കാൽപ്പൊടി, കളങ്ങളുടെ സൂര്യജ്യോതിസ്, നാഗരാജാക്കളുടെ അമൃതഭക്ഷ്യം, ഈറൻ മുഖങ്ങളുടെ ആർദ്ര ചന്ദ്രിക. Look at that. This is what is turmeric. This is what is manjal. The sunlight of the holy designs on the courtyards. And another comparison. Turmeric is the nectar of immortality. Nectar. You know what is nectar? What is nectar? Nectar is amrita. Okay? Amrita is the food that gives you immortality. Amrita is the food that gives you life forever. So it is the nectar of immortality. Turmeric is the nectar of immortality, and you know this is true, very true. Turmeric can give you immunity. It is a good medicine for so many problems of your body. When you have some chest infection, any kind of infection, some kind of inflammation of the body, maybe some, when you have some kind of joint pains, body pains, maybe some rheumatism, for any kind of disease, all right, you can prepare medicines, or at least you can just boil a small piece of turmeric in water and drink that water. Okay, maybe you can just mix it with honey. Turmeric powder mixed with honey is a medicine for throat pain, chest infection and all right. So it's a wonderful medicine, and that's why Sachchidanandan say that the nectar of immortality, turmeric can give you immortality. The serpent king's steak, and look at that, who is eating this nectar, turmeric? The serpent kings. Okay, that is of course the kings of the snake world, right? You have so many snake worlds, right? And the kings of the snake world, all right, the serpent kings eat turmeric for immortality. And you will again understand turmeric has a lot of significance when maybe you have a snake bite, right? Or rather, turmeric is used to, of course, purify anything that is polluted, or purify maybe anything that is having some poison in it. And it is with that belief and that scientific authenticity that you put some turmeric in maybe some of the edible items, like some of in your cooking, like when you make some, right, you know, often maybe you make a lot of dishes with mushroom. Do you remember that? Maybe you have a lot of dishes with mushroom, and I remember my mom, my grandparents, especially my grandma, my mom and all, whenever they get or we buy some mushroom, they dip the mushroom in the very turmeric water, like you mix some turmeric powder in some water and you dip the mushroom in the turmeric water, and you ensure that the mushroom you are going to cook is devoid of any poison. Similarly, you apply turmeric in any anything, any vegetable or any meat you are going to cook. So this can just guard off or ward off or just purify anything from, of course, poison. So nectar of immortality, the serpent king's steak, that is the sixth comparison. Each line you have a metaphor. Turmeric is Unniyarcha, urban beauty, golden shoe, the dust on the feet of the sacred grouse, sunlight of the holy designs. It is the nectar of immortality. And number 7, turmeric is the cool moon of moist faces. Cool moon of moist faces. Okay, so this is again, this metaphor comes from another practice of people in Kerala. People, especially women, girls, young ladies, or even old ladies, right, they, after washing themselves, right, they would be maybe just taking a paste of sandal, or maybe some they will of course mix sandal and turmeric together, or they would take some paste of turmeric and apply it on their maybe brow, right? Okay, so it can just cure you of headache, can cure you of some dizziness, some problems and all. And because of that reason, because of the very bright color and the medicinal quality of turmeric, turmeric is again compared to the cool moon of moist faces. And number 8, the next metaphor, the tender touch of the earth. Okay, turmeric is the tender, soft, loving, affectionate, kind touch of the earth. Earth, Mother Earth is showing generosity to us, kindness to us, and we have this very valuable, precious herb, spice, turmeric, tender touch of the earth. And it is the tender touch of the earth on the cheeks pierced by trident in divine frenzy, and the torn forehead of the dancing oracle. You know what is oracle? Who is the oracle? When you look at Hindu culture, Hindu religion, festival celebrations, you have the very oracle. You have a lot of dances and ritualistic practices like Theyyam, Velipadu, the dance of Theyyam, the dance of Velipadu and all. And especially in the dance of the oracle. Oracle is the Velipadu in Hindu rituals and Hindu religion. So the Velipadu or oracle will be holding a sickle and it would be just dancing. And it will, of course, the oracle will be piercing the cheeks with trident. You know trident, what is trident? Trident is Trishul. Trishul, that is a long three-pronged fork or weapon. Trishul. It has 3 arrow pierce end, right? Trishul, right? And the oracle will pierce its cheek with the trident, and it would be there would be some wound or incision, and in order to cure that wound, the oracle is applying turmeric on the cheek. So this is, of course, what is turmeric? Turmeric is the tender touch of the earth on the cheeks pierced by the trident in frenzy and the torn forehead of the dancing oracle. Okay, so corresponding Malayalam. Okay, വേൽ കയറ്റിയ കവിളുകളിലും വെളിച്ചപ്പെട്ടവൻ്റെ പിളർനെറ്റിയിലും ഭൂമിയുടെ ലോലസ്പർശം. Look at that. This is turmeric is the tender touch of the earth on the cheeks pierced by the trident in divine frenzy. The oracle, the divine character, is dancing in spiritual ecstasy, and he or she, often he, is piercing its cheeks with the trident, and in order to cure the wound, turmeric is applied. So it is the tender touch of the earth, soft, loving touch. Now, yet another comparison. The other yellow shore of venom. Okay, what is turmeric? Now we are very upset and we pray for Vava Suresh. We know Vava Suresh, our maybe elder brother, who is of course very helpful when we are being disturbed by, of course, snakes. If there is a snake, or if you have a backyard which is snake infested, and if you see a poisonous snake like cobra, this person, Vava Suresh, comes there and helps you. Right? He catches the right, and now he is in Kottayam Medical College, and we are full of prayers for him, and he is recovering. We are happy about it. So, if we have a snake bite, turmeric is the best medicine. That is why it is said, maybe for any kind of venom, any insect bite, okay, poisonous insects, poisonous creatures, scorpions, snakes, etc. The other shore of venom. Other shore of venom means the shore of safety is turmeric. Turmeric is the shore of safety. Okay, the other shore of venom is turmeric, and that is the 9th comparison of turmeric. And the 10th comparison, what is turmeric? Golden heroine of kitchen's platter. Okay, you are going to make some marination. ഒരു കറിക്ക് അരപ്പുണ്ടാക്കാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. Alright, and you take some maybe chili, some onion, some salt, and some turmeric. Of all this, coconut, garlic, shallot or onion, chili, salt, the heroine is turmeric. Okay, നമ്മൾ അരയ്ക്കാനായിട്ട് ഒരു അരപ്പിനുള്ള സാധനങ്ങൾ എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ ആ പാത്രത്തിലേക്ക് നോക്കിയാൽ ഏറ്റവും സുന്ദരിയായിട്ട് നിൽക്കുന്നത് മഞ്ഞളാണ്. So turmeric is the golden heroine of the kitchen's platter. If you are into cooking, I am very much into cooking, right? And if you are into cooking, you will understand that turmeric is essential for any dish, every dish. Yeah. Yesterday, of course, I made some soup, mutton soup, and even in that, you are boiling the mutton bones along with turmeric, little bit of half a teaspoon of or maybe 1 kg mutton bone, 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. You boil it, okay, that is it, right? So the golden heroine of the kitchen's platter, the yellow clad fragrance of curries. Yeah, the yellow, the curry is yellow color, and the very yellow color and the fragrance of curry is because of turmeric. You know, right now നമുക്കറിയാം നമ്മളെ നാട്ടിൻപുറങ്ങളിൽ മാങ്ങയും ചക്കയും ചക്കക്കുരു ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ യു വിൽ നമ്മളൊരു ചക്കക്കുരു മാങ്ങ മുരിങ്ങയ്ക്കൊക്കെ ഇട്ടുള്ളൊരു കറിയുണ്ട്. Oh my god, I like it very much, right? You make some curry with some mango, some seeds of jackfruit, some of course drumstick, and okay, oh my god, it's very delicious and very, very tasty. But you will understand, for your marination you need to apply turmeric, and turmeric is giving that yellow color to the curry you make. Okay, tani nadan bhashayil chakkakuru manga curry adu manja niramaanu, and that color comes from turmeric. So delicious a curry. And this is the time, like April, May, March, April, May, February, March, April, May, you have a lot of jackfruit. Unfortunately, because of climatic changes, we don't have jackfruit this year, but otherwise we have plenty of jackfruit in Kerala. And chakkakuru curry is a wonderful curry you like most, right? And the curry, color of the curry, the yellow clad fragrance of curry comes from turmeric. Beautiful. The sweet scented presence that followed us from the labor room to the bridal chamber, and from the bridal chamber to the death rites. So you depend on turmeric at the time of delivery. പ്രസവ സമയത്തും ജനന ചടങ്ങുകളിലും മരണ ചടങ്ങുകളിലും you depend on turmeric. You have a lot of rituals with turmeric, okay, especially after the delivery. Women, they have their washing, what is called their bathing, right? 28 days, 90 days, 30 days, 90 days. The women, the mother who was given birth is given special care, and even bathing is very important. Bathing is very important. And before being bathed, the body of the mother, similarly the body of the bride is pasted in turmeric. കല്യാണ പെൺകുട്ടികളുടെ അതുപോലെ പ്രസവം കഴിഞ്ഞ അമ്മമാരുടെ ഒക്കെ ദേഹത്ത് ഈ മഞ്ഞൾ പേസ്റ്റ് തേച്ച് കുളിപ്പിച്ചെടുക്കും അവരെ. It gives them a lot of immunity, health and all right, beauty and all. So the sweet scented presence that followed us from the labor room and the bridal chamber, that is after marriage, right? And from the bridal chamber to the death rites. So when you have a funeral in certain communities, turmeric is required for the funeral function. And at last Sachchidanandan is pointing at the very tragic condition of turmeric. This turmeric, which is part of our flesh, which is part of our blood, which is part of our life, which is part of our culture, religion, prayer, birth, delivery, marriage, death, now is transformed into a tube of cream as a result of globalization, liberalization, neo-colonization. This is something very bad. That is the sadness, lamentation of Sachchidanandan. Now an expensive cosmetic cream trapped in tubes and sold in the supermarket. And the irony is that most of these medicines are manufactured in maybe US or UK or maybe other countries like China or Japan or okay. This is something very painful to Sachchidanandan, who is a Malayali and Indian, and the manufacturers have no feeling for the very emotions of the people who are of course considering turmeric very divine and sacred. So a wonderful poem on the very indigenous culture, practices, rituals and religions and herbs of Kerala people or Indian people of India, and of course the kind of consequences or changes that would happen to our raw materials as a result of globalization and liberalization. And Sachchidanandan is very powerfully attacking globalization, acculturation, liberalization, etc. in this beautiful poem Turmeric. Okay, now it is time and I leave you here. I'll meet you in my next hour. May you all remain happy, healthy and hopeful. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye bye everybody. Thank you for being with me. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.